Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Legal Information Law Insights. Today, we are diving into a landmark Supreme Court judgment in the case of Vishnoo Mittal vs. MS Shakti Trading Company decided on 17 March 2025. This decision is significant because it clarifies when a cause of action under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act arises, especially when complicated by insolvency proceedings and moratoriums under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, IBC. Stay tuned as we explore the case background, the journey through the courts, the main points of the judgment, and its broader implications. Case background. Let's start with the facts. Vishnoo Mittal, a director of XLTA Food and Beverages Private Limited, issued 11 checks totaling 11,17,326 rupee to MS Shakti Trading Company to settle dues. These checks were dishonored on 7 July 2018. Under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, a check's dishonor may trigger criminal proceedings if payment is not made after a proper demand notice. The demand notice in this case was issued on 6 August 2018. However, before the expiry of the 15-day period stipulated for payment, XLTA Food and Beverages entered insolvency proceedings, and a moratorium was declared under Section 14 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code on 25 July 2018. This meant that the company's directors, including Mittal, lost control over the company's finances. This sequence of events raised the key legal question: does the offense under Section 138 arise at the moment of check dishonor, or only after the lapse of the 15-day period following the demand notice, especially when that period coincides with a moratorium? Journey through the courts. The case progressed from the lower courts to the appellate courts and ultimately reached the Supreme Court. One lower court rulings, the trial courts focused on the dishonor of the checks, arguing that this alone was sufficient to trigger proceedings under Section 138. Two appellate courts, on appeal, the timing of the cause of action became central. The appellate courts recognized that the offense under Section 138 arises only after the 15-day period, during which the drawer can make the payment, has expired. 3. Supreme Court Review. In its judgment delivered on 17 March 2025, the Supreme Court clarified that the mere fact of check dishonor does not create an offense. Instead, the cause of action arises only when the payment is not made within 15 days of receiving the demand notice. In this case, because the moratorium was in effect during the critical period, Vishnoo Mittal could not be held personally liable as the company's management was suspended. Main points of Supreme Court judgment. Let's highlight the main points of Supreme Court judgment. Checks and dishonor. The case began with dishonored checks, which set the stage for potential proceedings under Section 138. Demand notice and 15-day window. The court clarified that the offense arises only if the drawer fails to make payment within 15 days of the demand notice, not simply at the moment of check dishonor. Impact of IBC moratorium. The moratorium under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, IBC, suspended the company's management, meaning the director was not in control during the critical period. Director's liability. Since the cause of action did not mature before the moratorium, Vishnoo Mittal could not be held personally liable. Judicial caution. The judgment emphasizes that legal proceedings should not be initiated prematurely, reinforcing the need for precision in applying statutory requirements. Meaning and implications of the judgment. So, what does this judgment mean, both legally and practically? 1. Clarification of cause of action. The judgment firmly establishes that the offense under Section 138 arises only after the 15-day period following a demand notice lapses, not at the moment of check dishonor. This prevents premature criminal proceedings. 2. Interplay with insolvency law. It highlights the interaction between negotiable instruments law and insolvency proceedings. When a moratorium is in place, directors cannot be held personally liable for defaults occurring during that period. 3. Broader implications. The ruling sets a precedent for future check bounce cases. Creditors must be diligent in issuing demand notices, and courts now have a clearer standard for when the cause of action arises, ensuring a balanced approach. 4. Judicial precision. The decision reinforces that adherence to statutory timelines is crucial, ensuring that justice is administered fairly by taking into account all contextual factors. Conclusion and final thoughts. To conclude, the Supreme Court judgment in Vishnoo Mittal vs. MS Shakti Trading Company, delivered on 17 March 2025, is designated as reportable, which refines our understanding of Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. It establishes that the cause of action only arises after the 15-day period post-demand notice, and that this period can be affected by external factors like an IBC moratorium. This protects directors from unjust criminal liability when circumstances beyond their control intervene. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video informative, please like, share and subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest legal insights. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.